8.1.
Oh, excuse me, 3-0 West is recused.
Yeah.
Eight 8.1, okay, hold on a minute. This will be short. Excuse me a minute, I forgot.
Yeah. A little bit of everything.
But I didn't break anything, okay. Okay, so every year the council is requested to adjust the citywide property-based business improvement district assessment, and today is the day that staff is recommending that the city council take up this action. The deadline to be able to get things to the council to be placed on the property rolls is early August. So this really is the last, well, unless you want to do it at the August 6th meeting, this is the last meeting before then, unless you hold another special meeting.
Was that a joke, Karen?
That is a joke,
Yeah,
Kurt,
okay.
yes.
Yeah. I was hoping that.
So anyway, just a quick introduction. Most of you are familiar, so I just did one slide. That the Citywide Property-Based Business Improvement District is a special assessment district that was first established in 2001 and then renewed in 2006 in order to fund the Emery shuttle and other alternative transportation initiatives. The PBID is assessed on commercial property, including rental housing. The Emeryville Transportation Management Association represents those property owners that contribute to the shuttle's funding, including non-PBID contributors. There are a few, we call them direct bills, that consist of some developer agreements for those parcels that straddle the Emeryville-Oakland border. And so they can't be in the PBID because that is consistent with the city boundaries, but they do pay according to the same rate. And so, for example, part of the East Bay Bridge Shopping Center, like the Target, is a direct bill customer. And under the PBID law and the PBID management plan that was adopted by the City Council after ratification by the commercial property owners who are assessed, the Emeryville Transportation Management Association is not just responsible for PBID's activities, but also makes the recommendation regarding the annual assessment after setting a preliminary budget. So part of this action today is also to accept their annual report. The full report was put into your packet. Just to briefly give you the highlights of it. The past 2013 service year, which is the calendar year 2013, total expenditures was $2.876 million, which is actually pretty flat from the previous year due to some efficiencies that were made with the coming of the new bus operator. Ridership was up to 1.6 million riders per year, which is a 6% increase over 2012. And I forgot to mention that Ronnie Hatrup from the TMA has been here and is here to answer questions. The other big thing during 2013 was transitioning to a new bus operator and expanding service by adding 2 buses and also replacing 2 aging buses to improve service reliability. The TMA also conducted a service evaluation needs assessment and also continued contracts for the 8-to-go dial-a-ride paratransit that is paid for through ATC, Alameda County Transportation Commission funds, and administered by the Senior Center. They run that shuttle for us, and also the West Berkeley shuttle, which famously kisses with the Emery Ground at the West Berkeley Bowl. So for 2014-15, their service years, again, the calendar year for starting January 1st, is to expand bus service again by adding 2 buses and implementing some other route improvements, to continue to replace the aging fleet, As part of route improvements, improving east-west connectivity, which is something that a lot of riders have wished for. The railroad tracks and I-80 make that challenging. Continue to maintain the 10-15 minute peak and 15 to 20 minute off-peak service, and work with the city to renew the PBID, which is sunsets in 2016, and city has already started work with the TMA to start the process by which renewal would be requested to be, well, it needs a Prop 218 ratification by the affected parcel owners in spring of 2015. So of course the future challenge is to get the PBID renewal adopted and then hopefully ratified by the council. To continue to increase ridership demands. There's a lot of new projects coming on in the next couple of years, and while they will generate additional operation revenue, the way the service is structured, it doesn't really meet some of the needs for additional capital costs, rolling stock. So the TMA will be working with the city on that, particularly in looking at some grants, and also there's a continuing challenge of a long-term bus yard. So, the TMA is requesting a 2.5% PBID assessment levy over last year. Currently, it's easier to do it per 1,000 square feet. It's $256 per 1,000 square feet for office retail. For industrial or warehouse, it's half that cost, or $128 per square foot. Currently, residential is now $127.70, and this is for rental residential or those condominiums that have developer agreements to pay into the system. With the recommended increase, that would go to $262 per 1,000 square foot. For the commercial retail, $131 per 1,000 square foot. For industrial warehouse, or half of the commercial retail use. And for the residential units in the PBID or the condos that have developmental agreements, be $130.89. And you can see that the estimated revenue that the recommended increase is not quite enough to pay for the proposed budget. So the next slide shows the TMA's proposal to fund that gap. And that essentially is that in addition to the increase in revenue that would be gained by the adjustment to the assessment for 14-15 and the direct bills, they have some minimal additional revenue through advertisements on the buses. They have a slight bit of surplus generated by their outside contract for the West Berkeley shuttle. They also currently have a reserve of about $419,000, and they are suggesting that they use a little bit less than half of that reserve to still maintain a 7% operating contingency. And if you remember earlier, as part of the fiscal year 2014-15, 15-16 adopted budget, the council did allocate $400,000 to support the Emery round, and so that they are planning on requesting $226,000 of that from the city, and that would give them enough money to pay for the shuttle. And so staff recommendation is to approve the recommendation of the TMA. Staff would be bringing back the request for releasing the portion requested of that, that one-time only money in late fall. Usually it's November, December when we get a finalized budget. Sometimes, they have to do a preliminary budget to get it on the rolls. It's at the end of the year that they make their formal request for what they would, it's the resolution authorizing releasing the PBID funds. At that point, they'll have a better idea exactly how much money that they may be requesting from that $400,000 that the City Council allocated for their use. Any questions for me or for Ronnie Hattrop?
Let's hear from the public.
Yeah, Ken Bukowski from Emeryville Property Owners Association. We support the increase. We need to work together to accomplish $60 million from the transportation sales tax measure. Very doable, very possible. The stage has been set for that. It's going to require the Emery ground having more contact with the Transportation Commission. They need to understand how the Emery ground operates. How a PBID can be funded for operations needs to be looked at. And you just have to establish a close working relationship. They have to know about you and know how you operate. And I would strongly urge that contact happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? You heard?
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Norm.
What is this $20,000 for marketing a free service? It seems like it's extraordinarily popular. What are we spending what are you guys spending $20,000 on?
I agree, 20,000 is actually kind of a low cost for marketing. We prepare the annual report, and the cost for preparing that report is the primary cost of the marketing.
Oh, that's,
The annual report that we produce every year.
so it's the annual report.
Yeah, the annual
It might
report
be
cost.
wise to put annual report instead of marketing. And am I to understand that Gray Bowen gets $310,000 for their services?
Correct, for the Emery ground service, yes.
And how does that compare with other transportation services?
You mean in terms of?
In terms of administrative cost?
In terms of the percentage of an overall operating
Exactly.
expense, it's in line with others.
And you
I
work
have to
on
do
a
either way.
one-year contract?
We currently have a one-year authorization. We have a 3-year, a possible extension every year, but we don't get our funds authorized only annually.
And what other transportation outfits does Gray Bowen administer?
We are currently running or starting another Transportation Management Association for Mountain View. It's exciting. And then we also have some other efforts with getting through Caltrans red tape processes and working with local government.
Okay. I'd move approval of the report, the annual report, and I'd move approval of the resolution too.
I'd second that, both items.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay.
Thank you for waiting through this
Yes, that
entire
was a long
meeting.
time to wait on. Okay.